My name is Roger Rodriguez, and I spent 26 years in military service. I was a flight medical technician, and then I became a flight nurse. The number that I came up with in therapy was 2,117 patients that I had been involved with in transporting back to the U.S. And on the last tour, when I came home, I realized that I needed to get some help or something bad was going to happen.
My old dad was funny. He was in everybody's business, whether you wanted him to or not. He was there and ready for action. He was our #1 supporter with Alex in soccer and with me with dance.
He would always hug us, he would always laugh with us, and he was my best friend.
People would say to me, gosh, he must make you laugh every single day. And I'm like, he does. And that's part of the reason I fell in love with him.
When he came home, it just wasn't the same. He didn't want to spend any time with me, any time with my sister. It was just, hey, I'm tired, I'm gonna go up to sleep. So it was like I never saw him anymore.
Our family's very close. We're very close with my parents, my brothers, so we would always do dinner together, and Roger never wanted to come downstairs for the dinners.
I just wanted to be left alone. And that included my family.
Yeah, his moods changed. He got like a shorter fuse. Like I couldn't talk very loud or play music loud because he would get very angry. And I remember just this one time where I looked at him wrong. I didn't mean to, it was just, I guess, my face. And he went off, and that wasn't like him normally. He yelled at me in a very public place, I remember. And I knew that wasn't my dad. This was like a whole new person.
When he told me, he's like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go back to work. And I was like, what? What do you mean you're not gonna be able to go back to work? In a matter of a month, all of our dreams were shattered. It was the man I married wasn't there anymore. You know, the plans we had for living our life together and having a long, wonderful life, him as an RN, me as a physical therapist, all of a sudden that was all gone. And I had a hard time dealing with that.
There were times where I thought that my wife would leave with the kids and be done.
And I finally told him, I said, I think you need to go see somebody, or I think we're not gonna last.
I remember my first meeting with Roger. He came in with his wife. He was really struggling. He was having trouble sleeping. He was just not his normal self. He was very emotionally numb one minute and very all over the place with his emotions. Other times, really struggling with some intrusive memories of a veteran that he had treated who had been burned, and of a couple of incidences where the plane that he was in was under fire.
Valerie, my therapist, we have been on a long road together. When I first went to her, I was at my lowest point. She is that one person that was there and said to me, we're going to get through this. We'll work through it. You got to trust me.
She was very, very warm, very inviting, and really just kind of gave me an educational session on what PTSD was, and what the stages were that Roger would have to go through in order to get better. Told me it wouldn't be a quick fix. The Roger with that old personality might not come back. You're going to get, a new Roger, and you just need to learn to love that Roger just like you love the old one.
He was very motivated to get better. He really wanted to recover.
We were scheduling a thing for dance, and my mom was like, nope, we can't go that day because Dad has therapy. And then from that point on, we had to schedule things around my dad's therapy sessions, because I came to know those were important. Those were Dad's times, and he needed that.
One thing about recovery that most people don't expect, if you think about a graph and a straight line up, recovery is never a straight line up. It's always a jagged. So they'll be up here and they'll come down here and they think, oh no, I've made no progress, but really they started down here. So as that goes, there's ups and downs within recovery. That's a natural part of how human beings grow and develop.
It's hard to explain that mental exhaustion that you feel walking out of a therapy session. You're working hard for an hour to sort things out, to process them, and then leave the office, go home, and return to a semi-normal family life. When I would leave therapy, I would just be so mentally tired and physically tired of the emotion of it all. I would have to go home and just take a nap or lay down, but there were some days where I couldn't do that.
And I think his family started to notice some softening of his and improving of his mood.
The lady would always give him goals like, hey, let's try to smile today. Let's spend half an hour just playing with your kids or half an hour just spending time with them. And even though it was part of his exercises to do this, it was a big boost for me because I was like, wow, me and Dad are finally gonna go outside and throw a football.
I do remember one day we were at the studio. I was in the middle of a 5-hour rehearsal. I was getting tired, and he would always bring the girls and I lunch. And he hadn't done that in a while. So when I walk out into the lobby of the studio and I see him sitting there with a little ShopRite bag and our names on it, I was like, that's my old dad. He had brought us lunch, even my director. He brought her a couple bottles of water. And I was like, that's my old dad.
I could notice things getting better and better. I started doing more things. We started going to places. We started to have more fun.
You would see a glimmer of Roger come out. He would, start to feel comfortable being in front of everybody again. And as time went on, he's like, I think I'm going to go back and I think I'm going to try to work. And then slowly over time, he picked up more hours there. He seemed to be doing well. Been working now full time for 4 years. And seems to be doing great. Something where he gets up every morning, feels like he makes a difference, and can come home and be a great husband and a great dad at the end of the day.
I think in Roger's case, in all cases, family support is really very, very important. They were very patient with him and very committed to him, and that gave him kind of a stable foundation to stick with things and to have hope and to not feel abandoned. I think the family support is crucial.
I definitely felt relief through his therapy process. I felt so much relief. I felt like the weight of the world was off of my shoulders. I could breathe, and I was happy.
My dad going through therapy has 100%, without a doubt, brought all of us closer together. Before he did this, it was just him, and then it was me and my mom and my sister. It was like 2 separate groups. And now, after everything he's done with getting help, getting treatment, it brought our 2 groups back together like it was the old family.
Their support was everything. As I was going through therapy, I had the ups, I had the downs, I had good days, I had bad days. But no matter what type of day I had, they were always right there beside me. Did we argue? Yes. Did we have moments when we just didn't like each other at the moment? Yes. Did we work through that? Yes. Is there still lots of love there? Yes. So it takes work, and if everybody's willing to work and stick with it, there is a rainbow, a pot of gold, which was my family at the end of the rainbow.
I tell everybody Roger's my hero. He went over there and helped a lot of people. They got injured really bad. And Roger was the one to keep them alive until they got to come back to maybe Germany to see their families before they passed away. So I'm super proud of what Roger did and what he does every single day. He was willing to put the work in to get to the other side, to save our marriage and save our family. You know, my kids are proud that we're both veterans. You know, they always love to tell everybody that their daddy was in the military. You know, we used to tell the kids that when they would miss daddy, well, daddy can't be here because he's got to be over there helping the people get better that need to get better. Yeah, he's my hero.